let's see what. Let's just like.
Oh my god!
See? Let's just go with it. Let's just go with it for now. Welcome back to the welcome back to this year's Halloween, the 2022 version they made.
Yeah.
And I don't mean the movie, but today we're talking about movies.
4 of them.
4 of them. We're gonna make it easy this year, and I'm not gonna play any stupid video games that I bought like as a joke for myself. You know, last year was Frankenstein's versus Dracula's. This year it's werewolves versus zombies. And then the winner this year is probably going to go against the winner from last year next year. If we do this next year.
Which it could go either way.
That's the thing, because it's like it's sometimes it's tough to rope you into watching a movie, but also sometimes it's tough to make me want to put any effort into anything.
Yeah. Movies are long, as it turns out. Maybe next year we should do like werewolves versus zombies TikToks.
Oh God, no. Werewolf. We should just
do TikToks next.
Regular people's movies versus short film, and then short film wins.
Short film versus TikTok.
Last year we did the 2 Mel Brooks movies. We did Young Frankenstein and Dracula Dead and then also Loving It. So I was like, well, we'll just start out with some comedy ass shit, and I feel like there were 2 contemporary ones that worked. So we did Werewolves Within, and we did Shaun of the Dead.
Right. Oh no.
The situation for the tripod right now is very precarious, and our cat enjoys.
Is trying to.
No, she's gonna walk over and play with you, or okay. Rip the Band-Aid off on this one. First thing that I forgot to tell you till now, the director of Werewolves Within is the director of Scare Me.
Oh, that kind of makes sense.
Which we did.
It has a similar, like, hanging out in the winter.
We did an iPod broadcast on that a year or 2 ago. The notes I put down.
Oh, no!
Werewolves Within, starring Sam Richardson from I Think You Should Leave and Detroiters.
Which, Detroiters, I feel like people know I Think You Should Leave because it's, like, famous.
And memey.
And very easy to memify. I haven't heard anyone talk about Detroiters, and that show is, I would say, very close to as funny, if not at times funnier than I Think You Should Leave.
Say hello to a new day, you white pieces of shit.
Here comes the first pitch.
Strike 1. Strike 2. Crap.
People should watch it, and also, like, the big thing is that they don't talk about poverty in Detroit. They don't, like, stereotype Detroit. They do a good job of showing a different side of Detroit, and it's a really good show. But yes, Sam Richardson.
He plays. He's a. Wait, here she comes. See, watch. I'm gonna prove myself right. Oh my God, dude. Okay, she's off of it. He is a deputy sheriff moving to a northern town. It's a very distinctly northern in a Jack Frost / Wolf Cop kind of way is what I wrote down. It's almost like how, speaking of Detroit, I sort of in my head feel like just let her do it, just let her. I feel like It Follows and Lost River take place in like the same Detroit world. I feel like this takes place in the same zone as. Oh, she's actually deleting stuff.
She's typing.
Okay.
She's typing.
Okay. Oh no.
She's done a lot.
So Sam Richardson's character moves to this town to sort of regulate things because they're trying to put in a pipeline, and it's a situation where people are like, well, don't put in the pipeline, and then people in the town are like, well, you're paying us a ton to like close our businesses and open the pipeline, so we want the money.
Okay, I don't remember the pipeline plot at all.
Yeah, the guy with the crossbow, the guy that was all like bitchy and dumb, Oh yeah, the next note I had on Werewolves Within was slaughter all these people.
Oh, that
Spoiler
happens.
alert.
Yeah.
Most of them get their shit ruined.
Well, and also we spend a lot of the movie not sure if they're we don't know if there is or is not a werewolf.
Yeah.
Which I liked about the film. I thought that was interesting. So, because a lot of people are just killing each other because of miscommunication and like weird social drama in their town. And for much of the film, it is uncertain as to whether the werewolf actually exists or if it's just people being paranoid and shitty.
The female lead is Milana Vaintrub.
Okay, I actually thought she looked a little bit like Aya Cash.
And are we talking spoilers? I guess we gotta talk spoilers. I mean, 2 of these movies are real old.
I think it's fine as spoilers.
Okay.
Spoilers.
So there's an almost burgeoning romance between the Sam Richardson character and the Milana Vaintrub character. And it was like really endearing and sweet. And I was like, oh, it's gonna be this kind of movie. And I really liked that. And then it turns out she is the one and only werewolf. So that sours things at the end.
And most people kill each other without the werewolves.
Yes.
In the movie. And she talks about that and how she like basically sets people up against each other so they'll get paranoid and kill each other instead of killing her.
And Harvey Guillen from What We Do in the Shadows is in it. He's Guillermo. So that's a nice bonus because that show fucking rips.
Oh yeah, it was unusual to see him in something besides that show. I don't think I've seen him in anything else besides What We Do in the Shadows and this movie.
The film starts out as a sort of whodunit within this sort of, like the power cuts out because someone tore apart the power who is a werewolf or something.
Oh, that kind of reminds me of Scare Me as well because, I mean, it's such a horror trope that like power goes out and you're all in the woods together or whatever.
The first Alien is still a haunted house movie. It just happens to be a spaceship.
Spaceship is a type of haunted house.
I thought it was pretty good, all things considered.
It was fun. I mean, I feel like it was more of a horror movie than a comedy. Like, I feel like Shaun of the Dead comparatively is funnier. It wasn't unfunny. It was funny in parts. But...
Shaun of the Dead, which I feel like that's one of those ones where it's sort of like osmosed into like everyone's DNA. I feel like it was like the first rung on the path to Edgar Wright doing Scott Pilgrim. Simon Pegg and Nick Frost.
We can look it up.
This is why I have my laptop here.
Which baby was also...
What we are is professional.
Listen, IMDb exists. We don't have to be IMDb.
He looks so normal, and he's just such a slob in the movie. Shaun of the Dead is Simon Pegg is a sort of bummed guy named Shaun, who is going through a pseudo breakup and has a job that he hates and a stepdad that he hates. The whole time in the background, zombification is happening, and he's just completely oblivious to it, and then the shit hits the fan.
Yeah, he's so busy with all his bullshit that he messes that there's like a crisis, which kind of reminds. I feel like there's a lot of parallels between like pandemics and like zombie things, because it's like this big illness that takes over. He's just keeping on, and it's business as usual.
Yeah.
While people are just zombifying left and right.
So it's kind of funny because I feel like in some instances, if you were like a few days out from a breakup and a big situation like that happened, you would still want to try to kind of rescue each other low key, but it doesn't come out that easily in this movie, which is kind of fun and realistic. He does get to kill the stepdad he doesn't like.
No, the stepdad dies.
Well, he doesn't kill.
He dies in the car. They don't kill him.
He dies in the car. Wait, doesn't someone shoot him, or how does he?
I think when he starts coming back to life, I think they shoot him when he's zombified. But he doesn't. They were gonna like kill him when they thought he was already infected, but instead they just let him die. And then he came back to life.
But he came back.
And then they shot him.
They shot him though? They didn't just leave him in the car and run?
I don't remember.
That's funny, because now that I'm thinking about it,
I know they had to shoot the mom.
Yes, the mom turns.
I know it looks like him, but there is nothing of the man you loved in that car now. Nothing! Let's go, shall we?
Which is funny, because her whole thing where she's lying down and gets back up is very much like Dawn of the Dead.
Yeah, but I remember he kills his mom, but does he kill his stepdad? There's like a series of fantasies where he's killing the stepdad. So
Yeah.
I think that's confusing us because I think we're
Yeah.
confused about when he actually. I remember he was like, "It's tougher than it seems to kill your stepdad," basically. At some point in the
Yeah,
movie.
and like then the stepdad opens up to him when they're crammed in the back of a tiny car,
And he's
then
like, "I was always
immediately-
proud of you, and like, I always believed in you. I was maybe just pushing you a little too hard."
And just
he
immediately
starts
turns.
crying. He starts crying.
It's Bill Nighy from, I think that's how it's pronounced, from Underworld, and also I think he's in
Son
Love
of this
Actually.
guy.
The coven is in danger and Michael is the...
Wasn't he in Love Actually? Isn't that one of your movies?
No, not anymore. I reviewed it at when I was in high school. I reviewed it in my school newspaper.
Wait.
And I
Can we
wrote
go
an
online and
article.
find your school newspapers, you think?
Probably not. It was 2006. But it was like, this is a pretty good movie, actually, or something. Was the name of it.
Oh. See, that's funny. Well, you quit stand-up, so you're not allowed to be funny anymore.
Still funny.
I'm like slurring my speech. I kind of like that they carried the Shaun of the Dead ensemble people into Hot Fuzz.
Which I did see, but I don't remember it all.
Timothy Dalton's in that as a mustachioed villain. He slots into that very well. There's a musical number set to Queen's "Don't Stop Me Now" where they're all just hitting this one guy over and over again.
Oh my god, and they keep saying, like, somebody's gotta turn off the music. Why is Queen... They say, kill the Queen. And somebody's like, what do you mean?
By the way, if any of you play Killer Queen Black, hit me up because I'm trying to be vicious at it. I heard there's a machine in the yard in Shadyside. The yard, the restaurant, not the yard, someone's yard. There's a lot of like quick cuts where they're all like grabbing weapons and like adjusting their neckties or whatever. Here's the thing, Werewolves Within versus Shaun of the Dead. Who gets the point from you? Who gets the point?
I mean, I like them both a lot. I think I like Shaun of the Dead a little bit better because it was more funny.
I think
Like
I
that
like...
line where he's like, we'll just all go to the bar, have a pint, and just hang out until this whole thing blows over. And he keeps saying,
Well, yeah, everything keeps...
like, I'm just gonna kill my stepdad, go have a cup of tea, wait until this all blows over. Like, that shit is fucking...
The vast majority of his like issues stem from his impulse to like just keep going back to the same bar, and then that's where they go hide, which is like, that's funny, that's clever. And
But
even
it actually
then,
is a pretty good plan.
even then, like looking at it as, you know, like pseudo-rural England versus Dawn of the Dead, you know, that's his mall.
Yeah.
Like that's clever.
Yeah, no, I think of all the movies we watched, probably that was my favorite.
Really?
Yeah.
I think I liked Werewolves Within a little bit more, just because it just did something different.
But you also had seen Shaun of the Dead before, and I hadn't.
I had, but I mean,
And I had watched them both for the first time.
yeah.
So
But
I think
mean,
if it had
that's-
been something I'd already seen before, I would probably choose the new thing.
As someone who's seen both for the first time, you picked Shaun of the Dead. As someone who,
But only slightly.
I hadn't seen Werewolves Within before, but as someone who has been around the block,
What?
I picked Werewolves Within.
You've been
Isn't there
around
a Queen
the-
song in that? When they're in her axe throwing?
I don't remember.
God, I'm gonna have to cut in so much shit and be like, here's the answer. Like,
I don't
here's the clip
remember.
for
I don't
Henry.
remember a Queen song. I'm sorry.
Loser!
So yeah, it's 1 versus 1 so far on the zombies versus werewolves thing. In Dawn of the Dead, there's
Oh.
someone. The mom's name is Barbara, and the Nick Frost character goes, "We're coming to get you, Barbara," and I'm like, "Oh, that's a Night of the Living Dead reference." And you hadn't seen Night of the Living
No.
Dead, still haven't,
Still haven't.
because I was like, well, if we do Night of the Living Dead versus an old Wolfman movie, you would have to pick like the Wolfman probably, or like that. I don't know if it's Amicus or Hammer, I should know, but like the Oliver Reed Wolfman movie, Curse of the Wolfman, I think. And even then, I feel like it's kind of like flimsy competition. So it made more sense to me to be like, well, what if we did Dawn of the Dead versus The Howling?
Yeah. So we watched The Howling first.
I accidentally realized they both start with like pandemonium live at a news station. which I think that's very cool to like put those two together. And I feel like it was a fair fight still. The Howling is very goofus in a lot of ways. It feels like, if I were to like know the background of it, it feels like the kind of thing that would have happened in the wake of maybe The Hunger or something like that, because it's very tonally like that.
So this newscaster has a stalker, and he's also like a serial killer.
Mm-hmm.
Eddie or whatever his name is. Her name is like Karen, which drove me crazy because every 5 minutes they were like, Karen. I was just like, oh my god, she's such a Karen.
I like that it starts off with them trying to trap the serial killer, but they do it in like this really lazy way. I mean,
no, they do try. They do get him. Not before she gets like traumatized by him transforming into a werewolf.
As much as cops suck, it seems like they shouldn't have just had the news team at the ready. They could have just had like a fucking pork wagon around the block just waiting.
I mean, cops suck, but also if you're being attacked by a serial killer, you probably just want somebody to rescue you at that point. Like, I obviously ACAB, but it's like it's like that fucking Gen Z TikTok where they're like kidnapped, and they're like, oh my god, it's my first time being kidnapped, so why did you pick me? Is it because you think I'm cute and all that? And then they're like, the police comes in and rescues the person, and they're like, ew, police. And I feel like that would also be my reaction, even if I were being held hostage and got rescued by police. I'd be like, ew, police, but then I'd be like, but please also untie me.
Yeah.
That's kind of complicated. But yeah, so they rescue her. And then she has all this, like, basically, like, PTSD and flashbacks to everything that happened. And she can't remember what happened. She can't remember why. Like, she can't remember that he transformed into a werewolf. So the whole attack is like a metaphor for some kind of trauma. And I feel like there's a lot of, like, symptoms of PTSD that she has. Like, she has nightmares, and she has, like, flashbacks.
You could probably do like a shot-for-shot remake of The Howling now, and it would feel modern, I think.
It's like Jessica Jones or something. Yeah.
In terms of like people like trying to grapple with their own horse shit, it seems very modern in that sense.
In some ways. So she and her husband, because she's having all these flashbacks and she doesn't feel comfortable with her and her husband, and she's just very traumatized and also has no recollection of what happened. The therapist sends her and her husband to this like health resort place with like a bunch of werewolves.
And the therapist is John Steed from the Avengers, like the real Avengers, not the comic book one, the British one.
It's weird. He's like, you had a werewolf attack. You should go to a werewolf place.
Which, in retrospect now, the trailer starts with all that weird mumbling about like, what did you talk about it? And it's like...
We've got to make them believe. We've got to warn people.
We've got to make them believe.
What do you see?
The implication that, you know, the werewolf conspiracy is coming to get her. Barbara.
Yeah. So it's like this underground society of werewolves or whatever. And then there's this lady who is like a werewolf, but also like a sex addict. Like they call her like, oh, she's an nymphomaniac or whatever. Yeah. And she like seduces the protagonist's husband. Well, yes, same. She seduces the protagonist's husband, and I think she turns him into a werewolf.
Yeah.
So now her husband is a werewolf too, and it's like they're getting closer and closer.
It's a little bit lopsided in the special effects. There's a really drawn out werewolf transformation in the middle.
And it looks like claymation. It just looks kind of corny.
And
at the end, it's like, look, this puppy that was created.
When they're fucking in the woods, there was that cartoon silhouette.
Yeah, it's like, look at this puppy.
Which I remember that being worse than it was, but also I was like chemically compromised the first time I watched this movie in a liquid fashion.
When we watched it?
No. This was like, I think this was when I was doing my like Video Nasties thing in 2018.
Oh, okay.
And like watching like 8 movies a day and just lying in bed. Is The Howling a Video Nasty? Or am I just fucked up?
You can Google it.
Oh, I can Google it.
Yeah, just Google it.
Oh, wow, wait. It's not.
It is. It's not like super horny, but it's kind of horny.
It could be hornier, for sure.
I think, yeah, it could definitely be hornier. Well, that one lady is very obsessed with sex, but besides that.
Dee Wallace is in it. Robert Picardo, who was the doctor in Star Trek Voyager, is like the main serial killer character. Number one, Roger Corman just shows up in a phone booth in the beginning. That's cool. And then also Dick Miller from Roger Corman's Bucket of Blood is like this bookstore owner that sells them the silver bullets.
You want books? I got books. I got chicken blood. I got dog embryos. I got black candles. I got wolfbane. Look at this. Silver bullets.
Like, all matter-of-factly, like it's true, and it is true. So the serial killer that gets mowed down by the cops in the beginning, and that scene is really cool because they edit it really fast in a way that's not... They edit it in a manner that corresponds with the idea of like, oh, I'm in a jerk-off booth at the porno store and they're killing a serial killer by shooting through the wall. It's like as disorienting as that would be.
Wait, I thought they did not use silver bullets.
Well, the cops didn't because they don't.
They use regular bullets. That's why he comes back
Yeah.
later, right?
Yeah. Kevin McCarthy's in this from Invasion of the Body Snatchers and UHF. Yeah, and then Dick Miller's the bookstore owner. He's actually credited, well, his character is Walter Paisley, which is who he was in A Bucket of Blood, but that he gets killed in the end of that movie. And then it ends with the main character, newswoman, just becoming a werewolf.
On national TV.
On live television.
Because everybody thinks she's mentally ill, and that's why she gets sent to this mental illness resort, and then she comes back and she's like, there's a secret society of werewolves and they've taken over the world.
Check this out.
Yeah, and everybody's like, you need to go back to the mental hospital, and she's like, no, I got some proof for you. Rawr, woo, and then she becomes a werewolf. Woo.
Unfortunately, they end the trailer with that part. Like, that's the last thing. She's like, screaming behind the news desk on the trailer.
Yeah, I don't think I realized how painful these transformations were.
There's some good, there's some good, like, CRT porn. Like, there's a lot of, like, good video streaks and distortion and stuff here and there, also in the trailer. That is The Howling, and then The Howling 2 was called Your Sister is a Werewolf.
We didn't watch that one.
We didn't watch that one. And then The Howling 3, I think, that was basically like a low-key, like, Ozploitation film. I think that's why I watched the Howling movies, because I wanted to see the third one. I think it was Philippe Mora that did Howling 3, because I love my Australian grossoid shit. So versus that, opposing that, against that, we had, sorry. Co-writer of The Howling was Bingo the Gorilla from the Banana Splits. Dawn of the Dead. Dawn of the Dead is a zombie program that...
A zombie program.
I feel like they used to joke like when you move to the suburbs, they issue a copy of Fleetwood Mac's Rumors, and I feel like when you move to Pittsburgh, you're required to like go through the Romero
Well, I have.
gauntlet. Well, which is cool because I mean you still get to see Night of the Living Dead when you get to. Well, Joe Bob hosted that recently, so we could watch his version and get all the little tidbits and fun stuff.
It was very bloody, and they were very blue, the zombies.
It was very bloody, and they were very blue.
They looked like the Blue Men Group, for real.
Dario Argento was involved in the production, and it's funny because all the blood looks very...
It looks like paint.
Yeah,
it looks super fake, but there's so much of it, and I feel like those squishy sounds still get me sometimes.
The house paint thing is very like... You know, that super gnarly kill at the beginning of Suspiria.
It helps things not feel as realistic.
Yeah.
But it's still nasty, and what did I say? It reminded me of Chopping Mall.
Mm-hmm.
Because it takes place at the mall, predominantly, and everybody's turning into zombies, and it's like these... How many are it? 4 people?
The primary team is 4 people.
4 people. And they're like killing all the zombies, trying to stay safe.
Peter, Steve, Fran, and... Peter is the Ken Foree character.
I feel like it was it's very unintentionally funny.
Yeah.
I think it's meant to be funny.
It was supposed to be kind of comic booky, which is why they were like, oh, the blood looks like shit, but we're not going to worry about it. And the blood was like, I think it was like corn syrup and peanut butter.
It definitely looks like corn syrup and peanut butter.
Yeah. It's fairly iconic in a way because the Monroeville Mall is where most of the movie takes place. It takes them 35 minutes into a 2+ hour movie for them to get to like the iconic setting of the movie, which is, I mean, that shows restraint or whatever, but the beginning of the movie is this like very awkward thing where it's, again, it starts out with like pandemonium. It starts out with pandemonium on the live news and shifts to just like some dorks trying to exterminate people in an apartment building. I mean, you could have just been like, I mean, they're literally in the newsroom and the one guy is like, meet me on the roof. I almost said the outside ceiling. Meet me on the outside ceiling. Meet me on the floor, but if you're on top of the building and then the sky is the ceiling and then the floor is the top, meet me up there.
The sky is the ceiling.
Meet me on the skyscraper balcony. We're gonna get into my chopper and get out of here. And it's like they could have just done that. You could just be like, be there, go get ready, go, and then they get in and go. But then I don't know. So they get to the mall. Largely still looks like it does now, which is funny. And if you take
Monroeville Mall.
I keep interrupting you. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
If you take the P68 bus to the Monroeville Mall, it actually comes down that hill where they're driving the tractor trailers up and down to block the exits later on. And you can see like the A&P that's like a Guitar Center now. I saw the remake first, which is also an okay movie, but it's very completely different. Matt Frewer is in it. Sarah Polley's in it. This one guy that looks like fakey Ryan Gosling is in it. I think Ken Savini's in that too in a cameo. Tom Savini. I said Ken Savini because I'm thinking of Ken Foree, who's like one of the main stars of. The wheels are falling off the wagon, folks.
It's okay.
This is what burnout looks like.
It's late at night. We're tired.
I'm eyeing up my grilled cheese sandwich.
Yeah, let's wrap it right up.
Well, we're gonna.
Or we can take a little cheese break.
All of your breaks are cheese breaks.
Well, we can take a little vegan cheese break.
Take a little vegan cheese break.
And then wrap it up.
Dawn of the Dead. And there's like the whole consumerist thing where it's like, oh, zombies go where they remember, and that's them all. I feel like, I was saying this earlier, I feel like Night of the Living Dead is the better film, but Dawn of the Dead is probably the more well-loved one, in a way.
It's probably more fun, like entertaining and fascinating.
Yeah. No, I did see, first time I saw Dawn of the Dead was at, it was a bar in York. What's the damn bar that's like a sports bar? And then there was like a balcony kind of ring. It was very, very large. It was extraordinarily large. The bar comes out like a phallus into the seating area. It's very large. Corner.
We can put the name of the bar in the...
No, I'm gonna get to the bottom of this shit. Watch me. Oh my.
I don't know what the bar is.
Cobblestones. Cobblestones? Yeah. Wow. Cobblestones is for sale right now.
Oh?
Wink, wink. Yeah, it's massive. It's huge. There was one point where I thought I knew how that building was laid out, and then I wound up in like a second little like attic bar. In like 2009, I used to meet up with my friend Matt, and they had this thing called Midnight at 9. And that's where I first saw David Lynch's The Alphabet. And that's where I first saw Dawn of the Dead.
Yeah. Well, this was my first time seeing both of those movies.
We haven't seen The Alphabet.
No, The Howling and Dawn.
The Howling versus Dawn of the Dead.
I think I like The Howling better. Well, they're both kind of corny and cheesy and silly. But I feel like The Howling, maybe because of the PTSD storyline, I was like, yeah, trauma. Let's delve into that.
I feel like I should be able to like, and there's the answer, but I'm having trouble. Because to me, I forgot most of the Howling, and the middle of the Howling is pretty forgettable. There's a
That's
lot
true.
of just gallivanting around the woods.
That's true. There's a lot of wood scenes. Was that the one that had all the pretty wood scenes? I feel like it had like beautiful wood scenes.
There was the thing. There was the thing where she figures out the shoreline is the photograph.
I think some
Stuff
of
like
the
that.
scenes were really pretty. They were like blue and white.
Howling versus Dawn of the Dead. This is really tough for me.
You like them both?
And the Dawn of the Dead had that like fucking first half hour, which is just whatever.
Oh yeah, I don't remember that at all.
There's a lot of like doofus fighting and grappling that doesn't quite land in a good way. It's like comedic. This is a bullet train into the center of the dark night of the soul here as far as me picking these out. So the Howling was better than I remembered, but the stuff I didn't like, I still didn't like. Dawn of the Dead was funnier than I remembered. And also it's on YouTube because someone fumbled the rights and it's still not on Blu-ray, so there's enough bitching going on that it's been on YouTube for like 2.5 years now for free. Do I like The Howling or Dawn of the Dead better? Dawn of the Dead is like super sexless.
Yeah.
You see Galen
Howling could have
Ross's
been more-
knockers,
Could have been more sexual.
and that's about it. The Howling could have been more sexual, yeah. Yeah, I watched the Red Band trailer, the one that I said was like unnecessarily longer, and like they still block out like the little nudity that's in it. There's just like some blood. It's perfectly good waste of a Red Band trailer. Well, you know what? Dawn of the Dead was already remade, and I said The Howling deserves to be remade. I think I will pick The Howling over
So
Dawn of the
gives
Dead,
2 more
which is
points
crazy.
to Werewolves.
Which is crazy because I thought going into this that like maybe it was lopsided and that Dawn of the Dead would be the obvious choice. But there's still something about The Howling that
I liked it.
there's like really good city streets stuff and things are sleazy in a way. Things are sleazy in a way that Dawn of the Dead isn't. Dawn of the Dead almost ends up being sterile in a way because it's comic booky.
Yeah.
I am running my mouth. And then we're gonna for the final points we're gonna base on the trailers.
Okay.
Do
We want to take a break before the trailers.
we'll wrap this up. This is
Wytyciu. Malishka koszka. Koszka malinka. Well, the trailer for Dawn of the Dead.
Dawn of the Dead has
It
a
looked
lot
like a
more.
really bad trailer.
Dawn of the Dead has a lot more like weird, iconic garbage going on in the trailers. The Howling, you have the one we watched, and that's it. There's the Red Band one, which is too long.
I think I like the Howling trailer better. Hey, what you doing? Why? Mama.
Pasta Paisano.
You know.
I think I will pick Dawn of the Dead for trailers though. Because for a while there I was listening to the radio ads and they end with like the same wah. And she makes a similar noise on the
How did
keyboard.
you make the keyboard do that?
It was just there were too many keys being pressed at the same time. More than a human can push. I think I've been a little more indoctrinated into the promotional situation for Dawn of the Dead. Music by the Goblins. So I'm gonna say Dawn of the Dead for the trailer.
Okay.
So it's 1-1 on the first movie. We both picked The
And
Howling.
then 1-1 on the trailer.
1-1 on the trailers. So it looks like Werewolves
When?
win. And
What the fuck?
head
I thought
forward.
zombies were gonna win.
I did too. And that was the thing. It's like I thought this was gonna be so super lopsided, and it turns out that like I think I threw enough chaos into the mix that we got to an honest answer. Or maybe I'm just nostalgic for jerk off boots.
Well, werewolves are kind of hornier than
Yeah.
zombies. Zombies are just kind of gross. They rip people's faces off and then you have to shoot them in the heads. and it's
They
gross.
destroy people's very bodies as
It's
I
just
speak.
gross. And then, like, werewolves are gross too, but it's sort of like a puberty thing. It's like you're growing hair and you're getting bigger and
It is a
stronger.
puberty thing.
And you're like horny.
There's an angle. I'm gonna skip the video games thing this year because what am I gonna do? Like Zombies Ate My Neighbors versus fucking Werewolf for the NES. The last time I played Werewolf for the NES, I was hanging out with this kid in elementary school that used to like stick G.I. Joes head first into his turds and then flush them. Was that Taxan that did Werewolf? I feel like it was like a step sideways from Low G-Man. So good luck to werewolves in next year's battle versus the Draculas. Real good luck, because you're, well, oh no, I already have an angle for next year.
Horny.
Not that, but like, I feel like someone's probably watching this right now and be like, well, that's blah, 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 and you'd be right, but...
What's interesting is that vampires and werewolves are both, like, metaphorical for puberty and, like, sexual awakening.
I thought, what was it, wasn't the Dracula situation like Stoker's, like, fear of heterosexual sex? So, like, oh, here's some, like, women that are vaguely randy.
Yeah.
Could there be anything more horrible?
Well, yeah.
Yes,
yeah.
women that aren't randy.
But also the werewolf thing is like kind of like puberty and sexual awakening together.
Yeah.
So that should be interesting if we even do it.
Yeah.
We'll see. We'll see if it's all down to my executive dysfunction.
I think this year, like, I was dysfunctional.
So was I.
We carried this fucking bobsled across the finish line, ending of Cool Running Style, which I have not watched since like 1995 because the ending always makes me cry. I must feel like there's something I meant to say about one or all of these films that I couldn't remember.
Well, we can always add a postscript.
Well, have a
grilled cheese.
Have a joyous
Halloween.
Just have a joyous anything.
Holiday
Yeah.
times. Bye, everybody.
If things suck, do disruptive, impulsive things to counteract that.
Go to the sex club.
No, thank you.
Not you. I'm talking to the viewers.
I'm talking to the viewers. Malishka Kushka.
She's down there.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we did something.
We were Malishka Kushkas for sure.
If you're fashion-minded, watch out. Big-time shopping is finally here, Monroeville Mall.